What's up, YouTube? Brian here with another first world problem. Just put my Torqeedo on the kayak and did my first sea trial yesterday and learned a few things that I thought I'd pass along. There's some good install videos out there, so I'm not going to walk through all the installs, more of the tips and tricks that I learned from the first sea trial. So we'll do a little walkthrough here. I hope you enjoy. All right, first off, let's talk about a couple of the things here. First, when I got on the water, the brackets that come with the package, this bracket was right here and instantly broke off. I think what happened is the pedal got stuck, meaning my foot was on, and I went to yank it, and I actually yanked it out of this here. So I upgraded to these. They're like $1.50 with an 80-pound force on them. So I'd recommend upgrading, getting rid of these old, and I put them everywhere too. So got them here on the reverse lock, got it here, and also upgraded on the rudder control. All right, let's talk trim. I found this second position here to be the best on the ATAK. Gives it a nice little angle. This is a pain in the ass to get on the water when your fingers are wet. I did have a pair of pliers and could get it off, so fix that. Start here before you get going if you've got the ATAK 120, but I'd recommend starting there. A couple other things when I got on the water. This control arm needs to be super tight. It actually slips a little bit because it's just plastic on aluminum here. So I'm actually thinking of putting a little piece of rubber, maybe from like an old inner tube, bike inner tube or something, in there, just to give it a little bit better of a grip when you tighten this down. The other thing I noticed, if you look on the ATAK and I get down here, these steering lines come out kind of at the level of this, and so I tried a couple of different positions for the triangle, a little further down so the angles were down. That actually was the worst. If you go too far up, it starts getting wrapped around here. So the optimal position is this inside hole right here. Either one of these two, because you stay on the inside, or even if it gets up in here, there's enough clearance you can see in between. So if I lay that there and I lay this one underneath like that, you can see kind of how it naturally lines up. So I'd recommend keeping this pretty high so that you get a straight coming out of the back there, as straight as possible, and then it heads underneath and rides on this nice stainless steel bar there. So again, make sure this is super tight. As soon as I got on the water, I turned the first time and the whole thing just twisted and I couldn't steer. So luckily I paddled back, got it fixed up. All right, let's talk lines now. Ran my lines again, upgrade through here, and then I put on some of the Stealth anchor trolley or pulleys from ATAK. Put them right about the back of the gunnel on each side, and that gives me just enough turn to run straight underneath my landing gear. If you see my other video, I had to put a riser on my landing gear because this gunnel is tilted. So there's plenty of room under here. I was going to put some guides, but didn't really need it. With this, it lines it up pretty straight shot down the gunnel if you get it right. Comes up here to the anchor. So if you pull this cleat, raises the motor, cleats it down, you're good to go. Now, the instructions say put this on the port side. I'm sorry, actually they say put this on the starboard side. I think it all depends on where you're going to put your throttle. If you think about it, you're not going to lock your reverse in position very often. You're just going to kind of hold that till you get out. Maybe you want to put another cleat there, but if you don't put a cleat, then what I found when I was in the water, I could hit reverse here and hold on with my other hand the reverse function. So I chose to flip the two. Totally your call. The other thing that I would recommend is leave all of your lines uncut until you do some sea trials. So I just kind of wrapped everything. You can see here I wrapped around my steering controls. I've just zip tied here, because you really don't know what you're going to learn as you keep going. So before you make all your final cuts and splices, I'd recommend leaving as much line as you can. It'll just save you some money. All right, so there's my Boondocks landing gear. Battery fits perfect back here with this seat position about midway through. You want to get your seat up kind of as far as you can. The other thing I learned is this throttle position got in the way. As I was paddling, I would come up on my paddle and kick it into gear and start zipping forward. So I'm actually going to move this a little further behind me. I'll have to reach back to throttle, but I'll just twist it sideways and that should keep it out of the mix. All right, for the steering, you're going to want the Wilderness Systems stern motor foot control kit. Essentially, it's just the rudder kit without the rudder, so you save a little bit of money. Now, hey Wilderness Systems, you know I love you guys. I buy all your stuff. It's great. However, I guys want to show you one thing on the install. Here, if you can read this, it says screws needed for the ATAK 4. So you knew that, and then you gave me 2. So when you're going to install these foot pedals, the screws that are right there, you can't use the old ones. You need a shorter version. That's a panhead screw. But it was just a pain in the ass to be in the middle of my install and then have to drive up to Lowe's or Home Depot and get some screws, which these say they need a 5/8, and there's only 3/4 in the store. So unless you're gonna get to some specialty screw center. So hey Wilderness Systems, go ahead and spend the extra 50 cents and put me in 4 screws. All right, let's talk steering for a second. When you get out, it does take a little bit to get used to. The pedals move in tandem, okay? So as you push here, that pedal's gonna move, and vice versa. As you push here, this pedal's gonna come back because they're connected on the triangle. So I think when I busted that ring, it was down, I had both feet on the pedal like I'm used to. I went and pulled this, and then watch what happens. So as you pull your motor up, makes sense that the slack's gonna come out as it pulls your steering control up, and it tucks away here on the motor. So this is going to pull tight as you come up. So don't keep your feet. That's why I busted this ring when I was on the water. And then once you let the cleat down, motor comes down, now you take up the slack, and then you're again pushing here. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Again, I did tie it off, but then ran my extra line, just wrapped it around here. So just in case I wanted to make any adjustments or cuts or anything like that, good thing to do before you pack everything up. So that's it. That's the Wilderness ATAK 120. I tell you, when everything's set up, this landing gear is a must. I mean, I pull it out of the back of my truck. I have another Boondocks extension arm on the back. I just pull it out, get everything set up at the car, and wheel it straight in. I leave the wheels down, push into the water, take off, and then as I reach back, they'll float up, and then they just tuck right behind, and everything stays out of the way. So I hope you guys like what I've done with my 120. Still more to come. I want to put a few more things on it, but that is the setup. Can't wait for the new Wilderness Systems mounting board to come out. I think they've put some handles in the newer version. Still gives you room for 2 power poles if you want them, and other accessories. So what a great platform when it's tied up with this new angler mount. And again, there's the quick disconnect. You just unhook everything. This whole thing pops right out. The other thing to note is even when you have your case, everything, all the cables slide right underneath, so this is still flat and secure. And then I just come and take one of the bungees up over the top. I actually replaced and made a couple of fly rod holders too, because I fly fish. So hope you like it.